Today, the United States faces one of the greatest challenges and crisis periods it has ever faced. I understand that we have had a civil war and world war, but we're very much entering one of the worst periods of strife this country has ever seen. Not the worst, but pretty bad. Fuel prices are at a new all-time high at $4.41. Diesel prices are also at an all-time high, and we have a looming shortage of diesel, which means supplies that are already in short supply may not make it to your grocery store, to your big box store, even if they could be produced. Now, everybody knows about two major shortages right now. Cat food, which some people are worried about, I get, but more importantly, baby formula. Amid record high gas prices and a shortage of baby formula, what do you think the worst possible thing to do as an administration? What do you think the worst possible thing you could do is amid these two major crises? Joe Biden has done them. First, the Biden administration has ended an oil and gas lease for, I believe, millions of acres in Alaska. But either way, they're ending an oil and gas lease in Alaska. Untouched, massive open spaces. If there is one place we should be doing some kind of oil exploration or development, it's Alaska. Now, I don't like the idea of unsightly big drills everywhere, but we're talking about a massive swath of land at a time of great crisis and major war. Perhaps we can try and alleviate some of the tensions in this country, but I suppose the Great Reset, World Economic Forum, the climate change activists, they're all like, we would rather people just lose their standard of living and everything be curtailed and pulled back. Okay, I get it. Okay. So that's the environmentalist. That's the left. They don't want you to get cheaper gas prices. So Joe Biden shuts down, not even the first time, but he ends these oil and gas leases. Okay, it's the Biden administration, I should stress. Okay, well, what about baby formula? What if, I don't know, they shipped a whole bunch of baby formula to illegal immigrants at processing facilities at a time when you, an American citizen, could not source any? It's really amazing, isn't it? You know, they want to come out, these Democrats, and say that it is not the fault of Joe Biden. These things are happening. And every single time there is a direct action taken, we can point to, and they call us crazy. It's a cult. It is a cult. And I will show you the proof. I won't waste time in the lead. Normally in the lead, I like to say, like, you know, here's what we're going to talk about. Why don't you? No, take a look at this. Voting to support Ukraine with $40 billion. Did you think that's all that happened? Oh, I've got a spattering of bills that were passed to provide aid to Ukraine. It's not just the $40 billion. It is debt forgiveness. The money you got, you can keep. And it is unanimous among the Democrats. You know what? Not a single Democrat voted against this. They don't care about you. They are looting what remains. It is the sinking of the Titanic, and they are grabbing the silverware as the ship goes down to jump into the emergency life raft and leave you confused holding an empty bag. Every single Democrat, including the squad, voting for one of the largest military packages ever, $40 billion. At a time when mom can't get baby formula. At a time when we have gas prices at record highs. And Joe Biden is shutting down these leases. My friends, they are gutting this country and they are looting the coffers on the way out. I hope you can see it. It's remarkable. I honestly, I can't even believe looking at these stories when you have such anger over the baby formula issue. And then they're like, oh, yeah, well, not only have they shut down a major FDA, the FDA shut down a major formula plant, but we've got one Republican coming out saying, yeah, illegal immigrant processing centers, they've got pallets. They got baby formula. Not you, though. Not you, American citizen who pays all this. It's just absolutely remarkable. Let's read the news. Before we get started, head over to timcast.com and become a member. If you would like to support our work as a member, you're keeping our journalists active and writing the news and calling out these stories. We've brought on a couple of op-ed opinion columnists to provide analyses and deep dives into many of these issues. Really great articles, by the way, on entertainment as well as history. You want to check those out. You'll also get access to exclusive segments from the Timcast IRL podcast. But the most important thing, as always, We are using Rumble infrastructure for the website. We are using Rumble's video infrastructure for our members only. And we have some announcements coming up about more infrastructure that we will be implementing to get away from Silicon Valley. As a member, you are helping to support this alternate ecosystem so we can push back on the psychosis that is censoring us, trying to control a narrative and destroy and gut this country. Let's read from timcast.com. The Biden administration cancels prominent oil and gas leases. Oh, they did this in February. Here we go again. One environmentalist said the announcement was good for the climate, which can't handle new oil and gas development. The Biden administration has canceled some of the most high-profile oil and gas lease opportunities pending before the U.S. Department of Interior, ending the potential to drill for oil on millions of acres. The decision halts the potential to drill for oil in the Cook Inlet in Alaska. Quote, due to the lack of industry interest in leasing in the area, the department will not move forward with the proposed Cook Inlet OCS oil and gas lease sale 258, a DOI spokesperson told Fox Business on Thursday. The Department of Interior spokesperson noted that additional oil and gas leases would also be halted in the Gulf of Mexico, according to a statement given to CBS News. The DOI ended the two leases for the Gulf of Mexico region because of conflicting court rulings that impacted work on these proposed lease sales. So let's slow down. Alaska. Lack of industry interest. Okay, I will concede that one. Fine. Industry didn't want to drill there. But you also have court rulings impacting the work on proposed leases in the Gulf of Mexico. The Alaska thing, I think, is just bad. Now, if the industry isn't going up and doing the work, fine. We can put some blame on these companies. Like, why aren't you trying to alleviate the pressure? They're making money off it. I don't buy it completely. Record gas prices are bad for everybody, even these companies. Here's what you got to understand. I wonder if, like, many people on the left don't get this. Oil and gas executives, when they make money, they want to spend that money on things they like, be it a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, an infinity pool, or otherwise. If the U.S. economy implodes, they're not going to be able to buy anything. So the goal is a robust economy is good for those who want to be rich. But they weren't drilling in Alaska, so be it. I don't understand why you would still end the opportunity to do it. Now, perhaps it's more complicated than that. Maybe they just said, okay, we're not going to do the sale and we're going to shut it down because nothing was happening on it. Fair point. What about the other court orders? What about Biden banning gas leases on federal lands? What about the Gulf? Look, we can point out all the problems of the oil industry, but we are a country that uses oil for basically everything. And you see all these people that are like, I see this meme where they say, the cost of wind power hasn't changed at all despite the rising oil prices. And I'm like, you're lying. You made that up. Okay. Wind turbines, people call them windmills. Wind turbines need petroleum-based lubricants. So it's not going to go up that much, but those lubricants cost money. Newsweek reports Republicans slam Biden for canceling oil lease sales amid record gas prices. They go on to mention the Department of Interior. Republicans were quick to criticize the decision and cited the high price of gas. The American Automobile Association reported was at $4.40. It's actually $4.41. Some Republicans argued that canceling the sale of leases would do nothing to alleviate gas prices and even push prices up. U.S. Rep. Beth Van Dyne of Texas's 24th District tweeted, Biden chooses to further cut American energy production and drive our gas prices higher. Folks, they're doing this on purpose and do not care what it costs our families. I'm not going to sit here and give a free pass to oil companies. Okay? They should be engaging on these leases. And here's the main point. I'm not someone who's ever going to come out and be like, Joe Biden's at fault for literally everything. No, Joe Biden's at fault for bad leadership. I'm not going to blame him for the pandemic. I don't think Joe Biden made COVID, but I think he's a bad leader. What would happen under Donald Trump? That's an important question. I think Donald Trump would convene a meeting of major oil companies, and he would slam his foot down and say, you are being warned. You will utilize this opportunity to lower prices, or we will crush you. You know how I know he would do that? Because back in 2015, I believe it may have been 2016, Michael Moore gave a speech talking about Donald Trump's bold move in Michigan. He went to the automobile industry and said, I will tax your cars at 30%. Maybe he said 20%. And no one will ever buy them again unless you make them here. No one had ever stood up to them before. Michael Moore pointed out that working class people loved to hear it. Finally, someone was fighting for them. And what happened? During the Trump administration, a $3 billion investment into auto plants in and around Michigan. What do we have now? As things get worse and worse, wholesale inflation is up 11% in April. This is shockingly bad. I did this calculator thing on the New York Times. It was like, calculate your inflation. And it said my inflation rate was 12.9% because we run a business. So there's things like automobile and gas and all that stuff. And that means for every member at timcast.com, the buying power we get with your membership drops by 13% year over year. Every month it's getting worse, which means next year we'll be able to buy a whole lot less. So we have to make sure that the company expands faster than 13%. Yo, that's a bold increase for a company year over year. We'll see. Everything may retract, so who knows? With wholesale inflation up 11%, we're going to see it for sure in the cost of goods. Already, let me tell you guys, when we bring guests out for Timcast IRL, we got to pay for those flights. We got to pay for those hotel stays. It's getting more and more expensive. And so some people wonder, like, you choose a lot of DC-based guests. DC-based guests, we drive here. Gas is expensive. We got to drive to DC and drive back. It's a couple hours. It's a lot cheaper than how expensive tickets are getting for airlines. And it's absolutely insane. Yo, $4.41. You don't need me to tell you about it. You don't need me to tell you about it because you know how bad it is yourselves. Biden warns Dems inflation will scare the living hell out of everybody. You think? But I think they're doing it. I think at the very least, you could say that the Democrats are so incapable and inept. They're unable to get a handle on the crises that sits before us. Or you could go one step further and just be like, they have to be doing it on purpose. Now, far be it from me to know the intention of somebody, what's in their mind, what's their motivation. But I can say, at a certain point, the insanity is so over the top, it could only be on purpose. Like, here's what I was saying before. A year ago, I was coming out here and being like, guys, food shortages are coming. And we had a chicken wing shortage, and we got more chicken shortages, beef shortages. It's been a year. What has Joe Biden done to prepare for or alleviate? Nothing. Okay, fine. Say he's inept. But I got to say, after a year, that of course he's heard about this. I mean, the news was talking about it. And if he did nothing, is it really on purpose? You ready for this story? It's going to make your blood boil. Fox News. GOP rep says illegal immigrants sent pallets of hard-to-find baby formula. Kamek's claim comes as American parents worry about a shortage of baby formula. Pallets of baby formula are being sent to holding facilities at the border amid a shortage that has seen many parents unable to find it at their local stores, according to a GOP rep. They are sending pallets of baby formula to the border. Kat Kamek of Florida said in a video posted on Facebook, Facebook Wednesday. Meanwhile, in our own district at home, we cannot find baby formula. Well, look at this. Baby formula is offered on sale at big box stores in Chicago, Illinois, and the shelves are barren. Amazing. Kamek posted pictures of social media of empty formula shelves in Florida next to the pallets of food being sent to the border, saying in a video that a concerned Border Patrol agent sent her the image. Now, I will say, I didn't lead with this because it's a claim coming from a Republican. Take that with a grain of salt. I don't think it's unheard of, but it's not like, well, we choose who we trust. And so I was thinking, we could lead with this, but I don't want to say definitively it's what's happening. It is a claim, an allegation made by Kat Kamek from an alleged whistleblower. And we have this image here. Baby food, 84 boxes. Do not take. And it says 24 equals 2016. 84 boxes at 24, 2016. And you can see 2023 and what is that? Expiration, I believe. June 2023, 7/19/23. Do not take. The first photo is from this morning at the Ursula Processing Center at the U.S. border. Shelves and pallets packed with baby formula. The second is from a shelf right here at home. Formula is scarce. This is what America last looks like. Amazing. Now, of course, people who, it's amazing. Someone said, clearly a sign on top of the shelf says baby food 2016, 6 years ago. 2 shelves of Go-Go applesauce and 1 of formula. I can order formula from Amazon today to arrive in 2 days. You are blowing smoke. And someone said, if you zoom in, it's actually a count. 84 by 24, 2016. Amazing. Well, you know, I still want to say, take it all with a grain of salt. We do know that there is a baby formula shortage. Joe Biden was apparently going to have a press conference on the issue, and then he canceled it. She said the picture comes from Ursula Processing Facility in Texas, where thousands are being housed and processed and then released. Now, I will pause again. Look, I'm not here to play games and stretch the truth or anything like that. I'm here to give you my thoughts and opinions, and I always think being reasonable is important. How many pallets were sent to this one facility? Was it 10? I think that's bad. Was it 5? Probably bad. From the looks of things, it's a couple thousand, tins or whatever you call it, boxes. The shortage is much worse than that. We're talking about box stores and supermarkets all across the country. So I'm not sure that one shipment going to one facility is the apocalypse. What I am trying to say is there are grains of sand that make up a heap. Joe Biden had ample warning that all of this would be coming, and it seems like they do nothing to alleviate it. And while these stories may not be the apocalypse, it's not like Joe Biden came out and said, we're going to purposefully shut down pipeline. Like, well, hold on. He actually did say that. Okay. It's not like Joe Biden said that we should be giving our money away to a foreign country at a time. He actually said that too. Amazing, isn't it? I look at these stories and I'm like, I don't know exactly how much was sent relative to any other store to these processing facilities. You know, even if they're illegal immigrants, their babies need formula too, I suppose. But man, that really is America last. That we're going to allow these people to come in. We're going to give them emergency supplies that our own citizens can't get access to. And you've got a very serious problem. You've got Joe Biden, who could have called in the oil companies and had an emergency meeting to alleviate the problem, who hasn't done it. That's it. Joe Biden shut down oil pipelines. He shut down Keystone. He banned some oil and gas leases on federal lands. The prices are driven up by this. It's happening again. It happened in February, it happened before, and it's happening now. At the very least, we need to make sure we're getting formula to as many people as possible. And they do say they're doing everything they can. I just don't believe it. I really don't. The New York Times says, understanding the shortage. It's caused by several overlapping problems. They say, okay, let's read what they say the problem is. Supply chain issues. A recall by Abbott Nutrition, but hold on. That's but one facility, right? It's one facility, and maybe they need to get it reopened, but apparently some babies got sick. The issue is, if we're going to claim that one recall from a food manufacturer after 4 babies were hospitalized is contributing to the shortage, why not shipments that are going out to illegal immigrant processing centers? It's been a challenge for families. Retailers are limiting how much you can buy, and therein lies the big problem. Over in Germany, the development minister says the world may face the worst famine since World War II, so it's coming. But let's talk about what else the Biden administration and the Democrats are doing. Because while they could be providing relief to you and your family, they're not. They're sending $40 billion to Ukraine. The bill includes military, economic, and humanitarian assistance and cleared the chamber 368 to 57. 57 Republicans voted against passing the massive aid package, claiming they didn't have enough time to review the 30-page legislation. I just kind of think maybe we shouldn't be doing it. Oh, here's the story, my friends. H.R. 7691. Additional Ukraine Supplemental Appropriations Act of 2022. What was the vote? 368 to 57. You want to know what the creepiest thing is? Couple. Not a single Democrat voted against this. The only nays came from Republicans. Surprise, surprise. It's Freedom Caucus types. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene. You got Lauren Boebert. You've got Thomas Massey. And many others. I don't want to, Billy Long. I don't want to say none of these people are, deserving of any real credit here. Chip Roy. A lot of people said outright, no dice. We're not going to vote for this. Ken Buck. But take a look at this. Jim Banks. He voted no, Republican. You've got Barry Moore, Republican. But you also had many Republicans who voted in favor of it. You've got Kevin McCarthy's in favor of it. Mike Garcia's in favor of it. David Vallado, how do you pronounce it? Kim Young, amazing. But you know what's really interesting? Fred Upton, Tim Walberg. You've got Republicans split on this. Democrats are in lockstep. The entirety of the squad. Ayanna Pressley is for it. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, where are you? We know you're in favor of it. Come on, AOC. We got New York, and there it is. Yay, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Where's that Minnesota? I just saw you, Minnesota. I know you're here. There we go. Ilhan Omar voting in favor of this. Any idea of anti-war progressives? Out the window. It is weird to me that there was not a single Democrat to be like, I have questions about sending $40 billion to a foreign country at a time when we need food. 149 Republicans voted in favor of this. I'll tell you what this is. This is the United States being looted before our very eyes. And they're laughing all the way out. You know what's funny about this, though? Have you heard about the other bill that went through with nearly the same party line vote? You didn't, did you? Okay, I give you H.R. 7081, Ukraine Comprehensive Debt Payment Relief Act of 2022. Not only are we giving them money, we're also saying you will never have to pay it back. 362. Was a single Democrat opposed to this? The answer, no. The Democrats marched in lockstep once again on this. 56 Republicans said no. And of course, there's Lauren Boebert, and then there's, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and it's a surprise, Thomas Massie, all saying no to this. It really is quite incredible. Let's take a look at what this bill is. H.R. 7081 says, a bill to seek immediate bilateral, multilateral, and commercial debt service payment relief for Ukraine. Basically saying suspension of multilateral debt payments of Ukraine. The United States position in the international financial institutions, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. So no later than December 31st of each year, the president shall submit to the committees of financial services on appropriations and foreign affairs, House of Representatives, blah, 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 blah. You get the point. You get the point, okay? It is to seek immediate debt service payment relief for Ukraine. Well, okay. You don't got to pay us back. We're going to work with you on that one. We're also going to send you tons of money. There's a bunch of other bills that are very similar. We've got Ukraine Democracy Defense Lend-Lease Act of 2022, 417-210. And who voted against it? Why, surprise, surprise, it's Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massie, Paul Gosar. I don't see Lauren Boebert on this one, but we can pop down and see where she was on this vote over in where's Colorado. Lauren Boebert supported it. Now, this is not the same as the other bills, right? So I don't know exactly. I don't know if I have that one pulled up, but we can pull it up. I don't know if it's the exactly the same thing in terms of just giving money, but it's an act to provide enhanced authority for the president to enter into agreements with the government of Ukraine to lend or lease defense articles to that government to protect civilian populations in Ukraine from Russian military invasion and for other purposes. My attitude is this. I don't believe the U.S. should be involved with a war in Europe, a country that is not a NATO ally, that is not an EU member state. But here we are. Overwhelmingly, Congress doesn't seem to actually care about what the American people want or need. And this is S3522. We also have a similar bill providing for consideration of the bill to provide enhanced authority of the president to enter into agreements with the government of Ukraine. It's the Lend-Lease HRES 1065. Now, this one, all Republicans voted against, all Democrats voted for. Truly, truly an amazing bill. But I suppose ultimately what ends up happening, this is April 28th, they revise it and you get a similar bill and then everyone's basically on board with it. So what is this? Glenn Greenwald says, the anti-war left is dead. The Squad's $40 billion war vote just killed it. For years, AOC and the Squad postured as standard left-wing anti-war and anti-imperialism activists. They railed against massive U.S. expenditures to Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, and the CIA. Now they just voted for one of the largest war packages ever. During AOC's 2018 primary, she was unknown. Ryan Grimm suggested I did, and became an enthusiast. I interviewed her. She vowed to vote no on Pelosi, railed against identity politics, said establishment, GOP, and Dems were the enemy, denounced war budgets. Where is this AOC? I, too, was excited at the prospect of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I said, good for her defeating this incumbent establishment Democrat, the fourth in line in terms of Democrat power. I was in favor of the Green New Deal. I'm still in favor of some kind of Green New Deal, but they don't exist, so what am I going to vote for? I made a video once on my Timcast News channel where I said, the government using tax funds to invest in repairing our infrastructure, I support. Our bridges are crumbling. Our roads are crumbling. Let's fix them. I'm not a big fan of government programs or anything like that in the long run because it just takes money from people. But infrastructure is the one thing I think really is like the best argument for taxes, at least some. Well, what ends up happening? AOC puts out her Green New Deal and it was free college if you're black or brown. And I was like, what? What does that have to do with wind turbines? Nothing. Not a thing. My friends, as everything is crumbling before us, I'd like to show you what Democrats are really interested in. In this clip from Bill Maher, let me play it for you.
Enormous pressure, speaking of college kids, to come up with a plan now to relieve college debt. And I'm wondering especially what you think about this, because you are a strategist and have been one of the most successful ones for the Democratic Party. A lot of people are saying this is a loser issue. I'll give you some brief numbers here. Why that is, 13% of Americans have college debt, federal college debt. So that's not a lot of people you're working to. 65% don't go to college at all. 50% of the college debt goes to people going to grad school, which, come on, a lot of that is just...
I'm going to jump ahead real quick, but Bill Maher is right. 13% of Americans, and this is the key issue. Jen Perlman, who we've had on the show, and I respect, says, a leftist, progressive, tuition cost when Bill Maher went to Cornell, $3,000 a year. Tuition to Cornell today had wages kept up with inflation, $17,000 a year. Actual tuition cost to Cornell today, $59,000 a year. I don't care. Now, I'm a fan of getting rid of the interest rates, but Bill Maher makes the point very clearly. 13% of Americans, it's actually 12.9, I think. 12.9% of Americans have college debt. Not a very large voting bloc. Half of that is grad students. Why are the highest income earners calling for a tax on the working class and poor to fund their lifestyles? That's what Democrats are focused on. It's truly amazing. When you go over to the Hill, we can see economy and abortion top voters' concerns heading into the midterms. If you're someone who thinks abortion is the number one issue, you must be rich. Seriously, you're probably a rich person. If you think the economy is the biggest issue, you're probably working class or poor. I do not believe that your average working class person who can't afford to pay rent, who is living paycheck to paycheck, who can't find baby formula or fill up their gas tank is going, but I also can't get an abortion. Abortion is such a specific issue. And while I'm sure there are many people who are concerned about it, is it their top concern? Let's read. Voters are split on which party should control Congress after this fall's election, but most agree the economy and abortion rights will be at the top. A survey from Monmouth University released Thursday found that after healthcare registered as a top concern for 28% of voters in the 2018 cycle, priorities have shifted. Just 16% say healthcare. The poll found 26% of respondents saying the economy among their top policy positions, and 26 cited abortion. If you have the luxury of saying abortion is the main issue for you, you're probably well off, or at least better off than most people, or I suppose you could be in the cult. I don't see how you could be struggling to fill up your gas tank and then telling your congressman, but, abortion's more important. No, I think regular people are like, dude, I just need to live. I just need to be able to go to the grocery store, have a job, live. I don't believe that the abortion is the most pressing issue for this country. 26% said it as their top issue. I truly find that quite amazing. That's where we're at. I think the reason you see abortion as a top issue is it could be pro-life individuals. I'm not going to say it's just pro-choice. They go on to break down the difference. They say, the split. The public remains divided on whether they would prefer to have Republicans. 36% are Democrats, 34%. And leaners are more initially say the party does control, blah, blah, blah. 12% to the GOP and 10% to the Democrats. That's basically what we see, which gives, the Republicans have like 3 or 4 points advantage. 48% are Republican and 44% Democrat split. Statistically insignificant shift since March. It actually does matter. But anyway, look, moving on from this. There are a lot of people in this country who are struggling to get by, who want a better life for their kids. I don't think a social issue is the most pressing for the average person. I think it's the economy. I know they're saying it's split fairly evenly, but we can see here the most important issues in Congress: economy, abortion, healthcare, immigration, gun control, and taxes by 2022. Actually, it looks like 25%, not 26%. That was a typo from the Hill. So the economy is number one, followed by abortion, followed by healthcare, immigration, gun control, and taxes. I'm not surprised the economy is the biggest. I am surprised to see abortion has now become bigger than it was in 2018. We can see that in 2018, the economy was at 19%, healthcare was at 28%, immigration was at 18%, gun control 13%, then abortion, and then taxes. You want to know why abortion is so high today? The cult. Because of the news cycle and those who march in lockstep with whatever cult leaders tell them, they are going to be like, okay, that's the new issue for us. And you got to have money in the bank for the most part to be able to march in lockstep with a cult, but I guess not everybody would. I mean, if you're in a cult, you could be poor and you're going to deviate to what the cult wants because you're in a cult. Gun control was bigger in 2018, less so today. Immigration is up. Healthcare is down. Immigration is down today. Healthcare is down today. Taxes are up because it's the economy, stupid. If you were to combine taxes, then with the economy, it's way bigger. It's way more. Financial circumstances for the average person matter more than anyone else, more than anything else, I should say. So it's the economy, stupid. And we can bring it back to the beginning. Now is not the time to be ending these leases. I understand they were like nothing was happening. There was no interest, so we're shutting it down, but you don't need to. What they need to do is the inverse of this. They need to go to these companies and say, we want you must go and do this thing. Donald Trump needs to intervene. I am not a free market, small government Republican. I've never been. I think there needs to be restrictions on government to a great degree, but I believe this is where the government is supposed to be involved, not shutting these things down, helping make them a reality. But good luck. The Democrats are marching in lockstep as everything burns down. I think we're winning. I don't want to be, just total downer. I think this is going to result in a red wave. I think the past few weeks have shown victories on the horizon for those who believe in the constitutional republic and liberty. So let them do it, I suppose. And we will win in the long term. Next segment's coming up at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast IRL. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all then.